Hello and welcome to what's probably going to be a relatively quick video. I just wanted to quickly go over some of the tips and tricks that I've learned while using AirPlay, ways in which to sort of make it a little bit more stable, because it can have situations where you have a bit of jittering. But also ways that if you are having some other issues with regards to dropped frames or it feels really laggy, just little things that you can do to help improve that performance, both through your router, but also through the tools that Oculus actually provide as well. Now, within something like Virtual Desktop, there's quite a lot of settings, things that you can edit quite easily. Air Link, that's not quite the same. The options are much more limited, but I personally believe it's set up to be much more user-friendly in terms of that first starting point. So the first one, which is why I'm just showing you here, before we jump into the actual Oculus Home for it, is something you can actually do with your router. So let's bring up this here and we'll go straight into this. So the first part is around your Wi-Fi. Now, if you look here at the moment, I am connected to my 5 gigahertz channel. And if I just go into this, we'll see which ones are available. You will see that there's actually 2. So I could also connect to my washing machine, but there's the other one here. So I actually split my router into 2 channels, a 2.4 gigahertz channel and a 5 gigahertz channel. Now the reason for that is that while I was using just the 5 gigahertz channel, when I had them connected, the 5 gigahertz channel would very often just drop, leaving me on the 2.4, especially as my router is downstairs, I'm upstairs. However, the 5 gigahertz signal does reach here. It's what I'm using for my PC. It's what I'm using now, as you can see, with the headset. But the 2.4 is just stronger, so it was just flicking back and forth, and that can lead to performance issues, just in terms of the way they work. So your routers will vary, but for mine it was quite simple. I have an app for my router. I just opened up the app. The app went, do you want to split your signal into 2? I went yes. I put pretty much everything else onto the 2.4, and it's just my computer, my Oculus, that connects to the 5 gigahertz to give me the full performance. Now for the next one, we are actually going to have to jump straight into, in fact, the Oculus Home. So the way we do that is, as you bring up the main settings here, from here, you've just got the Air Link here, and when you're connected, it will show you that you are actually connected. So we are going to jump into that, and we'll have a look at the remaining settings where they are. All right, welcome back. So for this particular part, we are in the main Oculus Home. As you can see, got all my lovely stuff here, all those lovely Star Wars things. Once again, I start down on it now. So yes, let's have a look at a couple of the settings. So first of all, the one setting that I think people struggle to find, or at least I very much do, disable Oculus Link. Settings, headset, right here, disable Oculus Link, disable. Just something to remember. If you can't find it, that's just there. It took me a long time to find that one. The next one, however, is where the rest of the settings are. So if you look down here at the tablet here, you've got all the things. You have to access the desktop so you can have a look at, what's going on there, recording, obviously. Settings, your home, notifications, social, etc. Now, all the way over here is the Oculus Air Link. This is the default location for it. So if you just tap that, this will bring up all of the settings that you've got that you can sort of edit here. There are other things that you can do to try and improve the performance. I don't recommend them. This is the best way of doing it. So default, dynamic. So this is the bit rate, and this is what will affect your performance the most. So for the most part here, it will just automatically alter it. So as you can see, I've got it here. It will set it up to 100 megabytes per second. If I wanted to reduce that, I could. This actually works for me most of the time. However, if you are having struggles, and I'm actually having a few little struggles now, and that's because I know there's stuff being downloaded in the background, just drop this down. If you want to make sure that it's set as a fixed one, a little bit how Virtual Desktop works, you can take fixed here, and set a fixed rate of, so this one here, 10 megabytes, fixed rate applies. So you can then edit that. So if we do, if we do keep the changes there. So as you can see, currently set to 10. We can up that we'll keep that there. So 40 megabytes. Does this make things a little bit smoother? Well, at the moment, yeah, it does. So as a good way. Now, changing your bitrate will affect other bits of performance. So you don't want to knock this all the way up as high as you can go, thinking that your internet can handle it. And likewise, you want to go as low as you can go. So play around with this to get the kind of performance that you think is going to work best for you and for your setup. Just one last thing actually before we move away from bitrate, just something for people to know, which is the lower the bitrate, the lower your quality is going to be in terms of what's being streamed. The higher the quality is going to be. For some people to recognize though, if you do go high on the bitrate, your latency could increase. So in terms of where your hand is to where it could be. So there we are. Just a little bit of a thing there for you when doing it. Now, the next couple of things are kind of more specific to your own setups. Firstly, if you're running something along the lines of a lower powered PC, so like for myself, I'm running a 1660 Ti as my graphics card, and my CPU is a 5600X. Now, that does mean that, yes, I can run VR quite fine, but when I'm looking to stream certain titles, especially Steam VR, there can be some issues with it. So one of the things I recommend first of all is before launching Steam VR in this part here, so rather than clicking that, first of all make sure the apps are already up here, but if they're not, one of my tips here is actually to launch Steam and Steam VR from your desktop. So let's bring that back up. So once Steam has loaded, come into here, just have a look around and find the game that you want to launch here. If you need to find just VR games, obviously you can set that there as your collection and then just pick the game and launch it from this section here. So for example, in the situation such as No Man's Sky, when you click to it, click play, it'll give you the options. Launch in VR, that will launch Steam VR. Once you've launched it once, it just runs a little bit better. That's just something I have noticed while doing that. I don't know if that's going to be for everybody, but yeah, I found that that's the best way of doing it. If you have virtual desktop, you can also launch it through virtual desktop first. That will add it to the Oculus Home, and that again does just work a little bit better in terms of making things a little bit more streamlined. So there we are. That's all my main tips that I kind of do. If you're still struggling with Air Link, you're still having dropouts, you're not quite getting the quality that you want, I highly recommend virtual desktop. There's a lot more settings that you can mess around with to try and make it work a bit better for you. Plus it is, you know, in terms of launching games, it's a lot easier. It's therefore to put less of a strain on your computer. I will tend to use virtual desktop if I'm playing higher intensity games like Half-Life Alyx or anything else like that, rather than using the Air Link, which I find does tend to struggle with those. But the good news is Oculus are always updating Air Link, and I'm sure in future it will only get better. I'm sure they'll add even more settings, make it even better. So yeah, keep watching for more of those, I guess, if it does come on out. But for now, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that has been helpful to you. If there's any questions you've got about Air Link, anything to do with regards to my experience, or any other things that I've perhaps done, or any quirks that you've seen, let me know down in the comments below. In the meantime, I'm actually just going to jump into some VR before I edit this video. So thanks very much, and goodbye.